welcome you to Los Angeles, California. Homecoming here at Loyola Marymount University outside of Gersten Pavilion. Big tailgate party is going on an 80-degree day. Inside, we get ready to present to you WCC This Week, presented by Geico, just ahead of our West Coast Conference Game of the Week featuring the Loyola Marymount Lions and the Gonzaga Bulldogs, the first-place team of the West Coast Conference. Alongside Chris Johnson, I'm Steve Quist. Quite a festive atmosphere so far inside Gersten Pavilion. I know the Pep fans stopped a moment ago, but the fans mulling around here on homecoming. Should be a nice afternoon for basketball.
Great atmosphere for some college basketball on this Saturday, Steve.
Let's talk a little bit about this matchup here between Loyola Marymount and Gonzaga. Gonzaga already has a conference loss as we play here in January. That's rare for them. Loyola Marymount, meantime, 2-0 to start conference play, wins over BYU and USD. They've dropped 5 straight since, Chris.
Yes, they're struggling. A lot of their games have been on the road, but for the Zags, #1 in WCC Conference in defense, scoring, in a number of different categories. They are the class of the WCC.
And as we dive deeper into this matchup and talk about the Zags, of course, Gonzaga, point guard or guard university, rather, and they've had some great ones over the year, but perhaps none better than Kevin Pangos, who's playing now. Now, they're down. They're a little bit thin because Gary Bell Jr. is out, won't be playing in this one, but what Pangos has done with the turf tail has been exceptional so far to start the year.
No question, Steve. Pangos is one of the toughest guards in the country and one of the best shooting perimeter players in all of America, averaging about 17 points a game. But what I like that he's done this season is increase his assists, dishing out about 4 per game. Look, when the Zags are going, Kevin Pangos is hot behind the line, and he's shooting, and he's freewheeling, and he's playing great basketball.
Loyola Marymount, as we mentioned, they have dropped 5 straight after winning their first 2 in conference play. Now, they're not going to be at full strength here. Chase Flint broke an elbow in a game on Thursday. He's a big part of the rotation. He won't play. Come word early before the ballgame, Ben Dickinson will not play. Coach's decision as well. So that means a guy like Anthony Ireland, who's been amazing to watch so far this season, might have to fill up the score sheet more than he does on an average game.
Yeah, he's going to have to shoulder the load. And the thing about Ireland, he is pound for pound one of the best scorers in all of America. He stands at about 5'10", but he can go, whether it be off the bounce, off the dribble, one-on-one, or within the flow of the offense. Ireland is somebody the Zags will have to key on early and put a hand up whenever he's shooting that jumper.
Yeah, he'll be playing in his 120th game now for the Lions. And earlier this season, not only a season high, but a career high 34 points that he dropped in one game. And prior to this game, he was nice enough to speak with our Kelly Tennant.
Thanks so much, guys. All right, Anthony, before we get into the basketball talk, I have to ask, this is 120 straight games for you in your career. First of all, what does that mean to you, and how is your body feeling?
I mean, it's definitely, a great accomplishment for me. I had no idea before you told me. But, yeah, my body's hurting, all day, every day, constantly taking ice baths, constantly getting ice on my knees, extra treatment, I need it all, to perform on the court.
Well, being a senior, you're a leader on this team. How do you feel about where you guys are right now, coming off a loss and coming into such a big game like today?
I mean, we definitely got off to a bumpy road in conference. We started off 2-0, actually, and, we let a couple games slip away on the road. But, I feel like that today is a great opportunity for us to all come together as a team, as one unit, and, just play freely, get back to the basics and just start having fun, not trying to overthink things, pay attention to the scout, know what our opponents are going to do, but not necessarily overthink things.
Top-ranked team in the WCC and Gonzaga coming in today. What do you need to do to slow them down?
I feel like, going over scout, they don't try to run too much, it's basically drag ball screens to lifts to shakes. So we're just looking to push the tempo, play our game, play together, try to put a full 40-minute game together as a team, and I like our chances.
All right, I like them too. Good luck. Thanks so much.
All right, thank you, Kelly and Anthony, for joining us before the ballgame. And move over to Terrell Lowry. Now, no Loyola Marymount Lion has played on this floor or in an LMU uniform more than Anthony Ireland. 120 games. Never missed one in his career here at Loyola Marymount.
Iron Man.
It is awesome. Now let's get to what's on tap coming up for our West Coast Conference Games of the Week ahead. And you can see next Saturday, San Diego at Portland. Then we'll introduce you to the newest member of the West Coast Conference, the Pacific Tigers. They won't be in Stockton. Instead, they'll be down at Jenny Craig Pavilion in San Diego, taking on the USD Toreros. And then a trifecta. If you like St. Mary's basketball, we are the place to be. You'll see the Gales at Pepperdine, at Portland, at Santa Clara before we wrap up things on the first against USD and BYU. We'd like to welcome in the beat writer for Gonzaga basketball, Jim Sheehan. Welcome. Thanks for coming down. By the way, are you enjoying 80 degrees in Southern California as opposed to maybe 28 in Spokane?
Yeah, a little bit easier to get around and not as much shoveling of snow.
So talk to us about these Bulldogs right now. And, of course, they've had some injury concerns. Gary Bell's not going to play. Sam Dower back in the starting lineup on Thursday for the first time since the Kansas State game and the back injury. We were talking prior to the game. This actually has been a blessing in disguise, perhaps, for the Bulldogs.
As it's worked out, it probably has helped them in terms of building some depth, some numbers, the 8, 9, 10 guys on the bench. But they went through a period where they had 3 guys, their top 3 scorers, either hurt and not playing or playing hurt. Kevin Pangos, Sam Dower, and Gary Bell Jr. Gary's the only one who's still out with a broken hand. He should be back in about a week. Kevin Pangos has turf toe, playing through it, playing pretty well despite a lot of pain. And then Sam kind of returned to, that's the best he's looked the other night against Pepperdine in the second half. But while those guys were out, they called on Angel Nunez. They called on Kyle Dranginis. Drew Barham had some great games. David Stockton had a 20-point game in there. And so I think they feel better about the complete roster now as they're getting healthier.
How hard has it been for Coach Few to replace all of that production that they lost from last year's team in Harris, Olenek, and Hart?
Well, you lose 2 guys to the pros, it's a difficult deal. Kelly was a lottery pick. You had Elias played with the Lakers for a bit down here before he got released. So they've kind of had to change how they operate. The offense ran through those 2 guys last year, and rightfully so. They were very productive, could bounce it, could shoot it, could create for other people. Now it goes through the guards a lot of times. They try to be balanced. Shemek Karnowski inside. But Pangos is kind of the leader of the group. Sam Dower's capable, a lot more spread out. They play differently. They don't throw it inside near as much, but they've still found a way to be pretty productive in there.
Well, we appreciate the time. Thanks so much, Jim, for joining us. Make sure you get out of here or you don't leave the city without eating at least one fish taco.
I'll do that.
All right, very good. All right, let's take a break here on This Week in the West Coast Conference, presented by Geico. When we come back, we'll send it to the studios.
Welcome back to Geico WCC This Week in Los Angeles. I'm Chris McGee alongside the coach, Dave Miller. Hi, Coach.
What's up,
All right,
Chris?
let's get you into the conference highlights from earlier this week. I know you're ready, and so am I. Let's start with Gonzaga and Malibu taking on the Pepperdine Waves. Early on, waves up 3. Kevin Pangos with a bad pass into the hands of Jeremy Major. Coast to coast for the layup. Pepperdine up 5. But Coach, Gonzaga would settle in.
They would. I like this right here. Pangos off the screen. It's a catch-and-shoot 3. Ties the game at 16.
Remember, Gonzaga had their 22-game conference win streak snapped to Portland in their last game. Great execution here.
Well, I like that. The Allen Iverson cut, Karnowski to Pangos. Sounds like an international law firm.
Pangos would return the favor, drives, dish. Karnowski, the easy 2. And the Zags would then start to pull away. Moving the ball around. Uncle Drew! Barham in the corner. Hits the 3. They go up 16. Few possessions later, Coach, Barham again.
Well, it's Barnum again, and he's shredding waves. I mean, he's shredding threes in the boot.
They were up 18 at the half. Second half, they're now up 21. Pangos, quick first step. Where's the defense? It's not there. Gonzaga wins in a blowout, 70-53. Let's go to BYU San Francisco. Coming into Thursday night, winning 3 straight games against WCC opponents. First half, Cougars down 4. Kyle Collinsworth decides to take it himself. Throw it down, young man.
Well, I love it. It's a great dribble drive. There's no help side. That Cougar has some hops.
Dons down 1. Avery Holmes finds a cutting Mark Tollefson. Completes the monster alley-oop. San Francisco takes the lead later in the first half. Matt Carlino, we like him, Coach. Deep 2, he had 17 points.
Well, I love it. It's a high pick and roll. And to me, that's a Kodak moment. Hold your follow through. Your mom's taking a picture.
Think those guys remember Kodak moments, Coach?
Yeah.
They better. Second half, Avery Holmes finds Cole Dickerson for the easy layup. Dickerson finished with 26 points. Cougars up 1 now. BYU playing some D.
Oh, I love the active hands by Carlino. He runs it down. He gives it up. Hawes getting his jam session on.
The Cougars would be in control from there. Skylar Halford cutting through the defense. Layup, learned that at an early age. BYU would win this one 83-76. Portland and LMU. LMU assistant coach Mike Scholl. He's going to get the Lions ready. Look at those kids, just focused. First half, LMU down 1. On the break off steal. Evan Payne, nice dime. Chase Flynn.
Woo, what a move. But I thought, you know what I think? I'm looking at him. He reminds me of Shaggy from Scooby-Doo.
Portland up by 5. David Carr in trouble. Corey Tilkey wide open.
Well, 3 defenders on the ball. Get it to Tilkey. Finishes emphatically.
Game gets one-sided in the second half. Pilots up 3. Bobby Sharp connects from the corner. Portland goes up 6. Later in the second, Sharp again. This time it's the other corner, Coach.
That's a sharp shooter. Catch and shoot. Nails it.
Pilots go on to win big on the road, 71-57. Portland's on fire. And San Diego's a 69-66 winner over Santa Clara, outscoring the Broncos 41-34 in the second half. Duda Sunadzi led the Toreros with 25 points and 4 rebounds. Brandon Clark led the Broncos with 21 points. Jared Brownridge had 19 in the game. Broncos have lost their last 2 WCC games. Here's what the WCC standings look like heading into today's action. So a lot of movement in the conference, but Gonzaga still on top at 5-1. BYU's in second place at 4-2 after an 0-2 conference start. And St. Mary's is in third spot at 3-2 in WCC play. All right, let's look back at Thursday's game. Coach, Gonzaga at Pepperdine. What'd you like?
Well, when you travel in the WCC, you have to pack 2 things in your carry-on. You've got to bring defense, and you've got to bring rebounding. And the defense was tenacious. They turned this game over with active hands. It produced deflections. Dower patrolled the paint. The guards were active. They held Pepperdine to under 33% from the field and out-rebounded them. When you have those ingredients on the road, you're able to win. You just can't hold serve in this league. You're expected to win at home, and then the teams that are going to compete for a WCC championship, they don't split on the road, they sweep.
Great matchups today. What are you keeping a close eye on?
Well, I think I have to look at BYU Santa Clara, Chris, because BYU, the big question is, can they win on the road? They opened up the WCC, dropping 2, but since then, Kyle Collinsworth has played the point. At 6'6", he can play the 1 through the 4. I love his length, I love his strength, and his ability to get to the paint. Off the ball, he can spot up. He's got great three-point range on that catch and shoot, and he's deceptively athletic. He can turn the corner, he'll punish the rim. Here's a kid that went on a Mormon mission for 2 years. He matured. He doesn't have the rust that you would normally expect. I think he's the X factor to this team. With Carlino coming off the bench, it gives him another scoring threat. But at 6'6", the versatility, I think he has a chance if he develops to play at the next level in the NBA.
Great stuff. We're just getting started. Coming up on Geico WCC this week, we're talking Gonzaga basketball and how the team from Spokane became a household name in hoops. Time for our WCC Player of the Week, and for the second straight week, it's a BYU player. Junior Tyler Haws. Haws scored a season-high 35 points for his Pepperdine last week and surpassed 1,500 career points in the 84-72 win over the Waves. He followed it up with 31 points in last Saturday's win versus LMU. 15 consecutive NCAA tournament appearances, 12 conference titles, and an Elite Eight appearance. These are just some of the accolades the Gonzaga Bulldogs basketball team has accomplished in a decade and a half. The kids from Spokane, Washington have built a program that has reached national prominence and keeps the new kennel rocking night in and night out. But what is behind the success of the Zags? Amanda Blackwell has the story.
Welcome to Spokane, the second largest city in Washington, located in the easternmost part of the state. Its motto, near nature, near perfect. But it very well could be home of the Gonzaga Bulldogs. The team grabbed hold of the city in 1999 when it ran to the Elite Eight as a 10 seed in the NCAA tournament and hasn't looked back since. Today, the atmosphere surrounding the team can only be described as
awesome, electric.
Special place to play.
The team's home, the McCarthy Athletic Center, opened in 2004 and has been sold out every game since. It's known for its infectious energy from its student section on game day, which actually starts days in advance.
We wait out anywhere up to a couple hours to a couple days before the game in order to get that front row spot.
I'm out here in 15-degree weather to be front row for the Gonzaga basketball game.
It's like a family. Everyone is loving one thing, and it just brings you all together.
But it's not just the students. Zags fever has taken over all of Spokane.
You just get all wrapped up in it, and maybe because I was a cheerleader, I don't know, but I am still jumping up and down, sometimes almost embarrassing my husband.
You don't want to have a lot of meetings or anything that are opposite of the Zags game, otherwise you better plan on having it on in the corner of the room.
The way the community treats you, the way they approach you, they're always positive. They keep pushing you. People are like, come up to your table and are you Sam Dower or whoever? And like, oh yeah, can we get a picture?
A little girl ran up to me. All of a sudden she just started bawling, crying, and I didn't know. I didn't say anything. I was just kind of shocked, like, are you okay? And she's like, I'm just so happy to see you.
But there was a time when the team could walk around largely undetected.
I've been lucky enough to be here long enough to see it where at one time we were, even in Spokane, we weren't the topic of discussion by any stretch. 20 years ago, we didn't play in front of full houses. We were in a much smaller building, and we were always trying to find ways to get people to come to the games.
Everything has changed, from recruiting to scheduling to media responsibilities for the players.
We didn't really used to talk about Zags when I was growing up. We went, from time to time, but not like how it is now. And really over the last decade, what that program has been able to do is phenomenal.
The success of the basketball program has reached much further than the walls of the McCarthy Athletic Center. Its effects can be felt throughout the university. New facilities have sprung up over the last 15 years, and enrollment has more than doubled since the fall of 1998.
We do hear from a lot of students that their first knowledge of Gonzaga, especially if you're not from the immediate area, is through the basketball team. But then they also then learn that we have this tremendous school of business, and we have this tremendous engineering school.
It's had a profound impact. We have significant support now that we have received in terms of our facilities, but also in terms of benefaction for scholarships, for support of program activities.
Thanks to the growth and spurred on by the first #1 ranking in program history last season, the university and the city of Spokane have risen to national prominence.
When I go to national conferences, people know where Spokane is, and a lot of times they say, yeah, you're the ones with the basketball team. And quite frankly, as other teams come and other people come to our community, they may stay for 2 or 3 days for the game, but often you'll hear, I'm coming back.
Prior to '99, it was hard to buy Gonzaga-related stuff in Spokane. Ever since, you can get Gonzaga gear anywhere in the country.
We've even had times where we play on the East Coast games, and we have someone, we drove from South Carolina to come see you guys.
With the name Gonzaga firmly fixed in the mind of the nation, comes the desire to make sure that it stays there.
I'm not satisfied with the success we've had because we know we want more.
At some point maybe it'll be fun to be able to look back, but mostly you're just kind of focusing on feeding the beast.
I don't think we're done. I think we still need to make a statement and still prove that we belong in that top echelon forever.
From Spokane, Washington, the heart of Zag Nation, I'm Amanda Blackwell.
Great stuff. Now you can catch the Zags take on LMU in our game of the week right here at 1 p.m. And here's the rest of the slate of WCC games for today. 2 games on at 5. Pacific taking on St. Mary's Gales. And Portland taking on Pepperdine. And at 7, BYU Cougars versus Santa Clara. And San Diego playing the Dons at the Hilltop. All right, today's game of the week, Coach. Gonzaga taking on LMU. Who's your impact player?
Well, I've got to go with the pit bull from Poland, Przemek Karnowski. And when you think of him, I love his post moves. Watch that show and go. He reads the defense. He is able to seal. He's really a load in the paint. His footwork gets better each year. Offensively, he's going to attack the offensive glass. He likes to wedge his way in, and he's a big fella. He covets contact. He plays through it. We talk about the great guards in this conference. Mark Few has done a wonderful job developing bigs. Sacre, Olynyk, Elias Harris. They don't get enough credit, but he's done a wonderful job, and those guys have made an impact at the next level.
All right, that's going to be a fun one. All right, that's it for me and the coach in the studio. We'll get you back to Gersten Pavilion for Gonzaga versus LMU after the break.
Back in Los Angeles for WCC this week, a look at Venice. We're just ahead of LMU in first place, Gonzaga. Thanks to Jim Meehan again of the Spokane Spokesman Review for joining us here inside Gersten Pavilion as we welcome you back inside. Loyola Marymount going to have their hands full. Just 7 scholarship players for Max Good. Now that he tells us Ben Dickinson won't be playing, and of course Chase Flint injured on Thursday.
That's got to hurt. 2 guys that provide a lot of production for them. You have to rally the troops, though, and get them going.
Yeah, it's never good when you're a 9th place team. As we take a look at the up-to-the-minute West Coast Conference standings, you can see, Chris, Gonzaga with a game lead over the BYU Cougars, who play later tonight up in the Bay Area against Santa Clara.
Pepperdine really surprising this year at 4-3, as is USF.
Let's take a look at our X Factors now and some guys to keep our eyes on during this game. And we'll begin by talking about Sam Dower, reinserted in that starting lineup for Mark Few.
18-8 his last game out. Dower has really been productive since he came back from a back injury. The LMU Lions will have to stop his production on the inside, shooting it at 69% on the season. And Evan Payne, the freshman, averaging 14 points a game. He's one of the most explosive players, explosive guards in all the West Coast. His athleticism, I think, defensively will give Pangos some trouble today.
Yeah, you talk about explosive. This young freshman from the state of Ohio scored 27 points in his first West Coast Conference game he played against a very good BYU team a few Saturdays ago right here in this building. So what does LMU have to do here to keep it close against Gonzaga? Remember, they have not beaten the Bulldogs now since 2010, and last year a better than 40-point win for the Zags in this building.
Well, LMU is going to have to come out and guard them. I mean, Gonzaga is one of the most offensively efficient teams in all of America, and LMU is shorthanded. They're going to have to pick up their energy, get in lanes defensively, and really, really focus in on getting stops, Steve.
Again, first place Gonzaga making the long road trip, already beat Pepperdine on Thursday down here in L.A. They'll try and go for the sweep of 2 of the L.A. schools as they take on Loyola Marymount here on homecoming inside Gersten Pavilion. Up next, a desperate LMU team hosting first place Gonzaga. Chris and I have the play-by-play call right after this. Homecoming here at Loyola Marymount University in Los Angeles. We're inside Gersten Pavilion on the campus of Loyola Marymount University as the LMU Lions host the first place Gonzaga Bulldogs in the WCC Game of the Week. Well, hi, everybody. Welcome inside Gersten Pavilion alongside Chris Johnson. I'm Steve Quist. Big task here for LMU on homecoming. They won their first 2 games in conference play, have lost 5 straight. They're going to be a little undermanned here against first place Gonzaga.
It's going to take a lot of energy and a tremendous effort to get the W against these Zags.
Let's start by introducing you to the starting lineups, and we'll begin by looking at the Gonzaga Bulldogs and their starting lineup presented by Numerica Credit Union. Pay bills, deposit checks, and access your accounts 24/7 with mobile banking.